Hi guys, it has been a while since I had my second trip with mushrooms. I don't know if you have seen the first video. If you haven't, then probably you want to check it out because I don't want to go in like small details anymore and I want to keep it as short as possible. The last one turned out like half an hour. So this time, what is important to know and what is important to understand that I had a trip sitter. Finally, one person who I don't know for a very long time, but who is into those things and is interested, although she didn't do it herself. But she wanted to help me out, and she trip seated me. So it was very nice, yeah, to have somebody next to you, and especially it was not the first time anymore, so I was like more confident and more relaxed. Although I had what failed me a bit was expectations from the first trip, and this I think is a hole that everybody must fall if you do something like that. Like you do it one time and you think it will be like similar all the same the second time, but actually it was completely different. So this time I took a little bit more. If last time it was 2.5 grams and I actually didn't finish that tea because I freaked out. Then this time I took 3 grams and I took them all. And visuals started, they were beautiful, but I was starting to feel cold again. Well, this is getting used to, like it's my reaction to the mushrooms, I think. There is like a stage which I call demonetizing of yourself. It's not pleasant. It's very difficult actually. It's like I cannot explain it, but what is going on with your mind and how you feel physically, it's not pleasant at all. It just like breaks you apart. But it has to be done like so you can enter that state that is higher self. And I knew I will have to go through it, so it will not be that pleasant, but still it was like for the first time again, because if you remember last time I was going to warmth, I was feeling these sores, I was doing like that, and I was told to do the most natural thing. This time I didn't felt anything like that. I just said to myself many times, I trust you, I trust you, I trust you, and I kept repeating it like a mantra. And this process was like, it took, as my trip sitter says, about 3 hours for me. So I just went into the bedroom, I covered myself with 2 big blankets, and I was like shaking under the blankets whilst I was like experiencing things in my head. And what I was experiencing, it was, I was asking a question like, is there life after death or something like that? I didn't put it in words, but this is like was one of my intentions. And the answer that I got was, you have to die to know it. Which is probably very logical answer. But so, and actually I got this feeling that I was talking to my higher self and it was disappointed with me because I was it saw my actions like I was trying to escape from the experience, this life experience that I chose in the first place. So it was reminded to me that I wanted this life. Lucy, come down. That I wanted this life. I wanted to be Sandra. I wanted everything as it is, exactly as it is. I forgot about it completely, like in everyday life. I'm pretty much don't see a point of anything that is happening. Like it's so pointless, so frustrating, so hard, so I don't know, so lonely, and so many other different bad things. And behind all of that you're feeling here in this reality, you're forgetting that this is why you came here, to experience all that. Lucy, what's up? So it was reminded to me at that point. and it was like me as my higher self. I was a little bit disappointed that I'm looking for the escape routes to get out of it, and actually I'm using also mushrooms and stuff like that for escaping life, not to living it better, like to wanting to achieve something that I don't even need to achieve. I just have to live. Still, like at that point it was very clear. Of course, when you come back, everything goes in its old roots, so it's not that easy. So at that point you understand you just have to be, and that's it. But excuse me for a moment. Yeah, I'm back. Lucy had to visit the bathroom, I'm sorry. So the thing was, that I'm not living my life. This is what it was told to me, that I'm looking for ways to escape life, which actually is nothing new for me. I knew it, but just didn't felt this realization that I wanted to be here. So it was like a reminder, like hit in the head reminder, this kind of. And another thing that I experienced, like on a physical level, actually, not just in my head, was some kind of, how to call them, energetic strings on my face. Like I felt like I have thousands of energetic strings that are pulling energy in there or soaking out from my face. I didn't felt it all over my body, only on the face. Here I have to mention that I have a problem with my skin for a long time. Since I have been 16, I'm struggling with hormonal acne, and I tried a lot of things, and nothing really helped ever. And before I went into this trip, I set an intention to deal with that, like to understand what is real cause of that or how to treat it, because I have done so much and I couldn't handle it. And so I'm feeling this thing, and it's so weird. I'm just touching my face and I cannot believe it. I actually feel it on physical level, but there is no message with it. I'm just feeling it. At that point, I stopped already to be cold. I stand up. Before that happened one funny thing. My trip sitter was worried about me, what I'm doing so long in this room, and she came to me and she gave a glass of water to me, and she was making a joke don't sleep, don't waste the trip. And I answered to her, and it was I didn't answer it from myself. I don't know where these words came from. I just was talking from nowhere, but I said, we never really sleep. I said to her, we never really sleep. And probably it's true. I don't know where this came from. When we sleep, we are also experiencing something, and it also helps our growth. So there is no actual sleeping, wasting time. Even when we sleep, we are actually growing. This is what I felt at that moment. But I was not sleeping, of course. I was experiencing all those things. So in about 3 hours, I'm not cold anymore. I feel very warm. I get up. I go to the bathroom. I look at myself, and I cannot believe that I'm still under that deep realization that I wanted all this, that this is exactly that I wanted. And I'm looking at myself, at my acne pimples, and I'm telling to myself, I wanted my pimples. And now I remember I wanted my pimples. And so I don't know what is the reason, but at that point I realized I wanted my skin the way it is. And then I go to my trip sitter, and I just want to share this thought about me escaping life and how it disappoints my higher self that I'm doing that. And I'm going to her and I'm telling all this shit. And I'm sitting on the couch with her, and just my eyes are wet. I'm crying, the tears just running down my face, and I'm telling her that. And then I turn to her and I say, you know, I wanted my pimples. And she looks at me like with total. I see that there is no understanding in this face. Like, how could you want this? Like, who wants that? And I couldn't explain why, but I said, yes, this is what I wanted. I wanted my life as it is, exactly as it is, like not even anything different, just like it is. How I look, what I do, where I live, that was all. Like, and she turns to me and she says, like, does it mean that everything is predestined? Like, does it mean that everything is pre-written before you are born? And again, I'm speaking and I don't know where these words come from. I'm just answering her. It's not all like that, but we actually know what we are signing for. Like, what amount of suffering, what amount of happiness, what amount of this and that. So we don't know what exactly will happen, but energetically we know what we are signing for. This is, and at that point I just knew it. It wasn't like I had to struggle to answer her. I just knew it. I just set her straight. We are signing for that. Yes, we know what will happen, but not in detail, just. And then I felt need to go for a walk. And at that point my trip sitter really pissed me. And if you're a trip sitter for anyone, you just have to be this person's bitch, because you have to follow everything this person wants. Otherwise you will disappoint this person, and this person will go in a deep states that are like bad states of mind. If I feel that I need to walk and am not able to walk, it can really disappoint me, and I can like spiral down from this experience because I'm not getting what I'm needing at that moment. I'm not telling, of course, about the crazy things like I'm asking to open the window and let me jump. Yeah, of course, trip sitter is there for you to be like your clear mind and not allow this kind of type of things happen. But to go for a walk was like a reasonable favor to ask, and she was not feeling okay for going for a walk, so I had to talk her into it. And at the end, this was like very not nice process when you have to convince somebody to do what you want at that point. So if you are a trip sitter, be ready for that. You just have to be that person's bitch. That's it. So in the end, we are going for a walk. I'm still seeing all the mandalas melting everywhere on the world, like pathways, just in these beautiful ornaments, designs. And I just stop in the middle of the street and I see myself standing in the middle of mandala. It's just beautiful, you know. And we are walking and we meet this dog that is just projecting such a positive energy. I just had to communicate with it for a while. It's just this golden retriever Labrador that is so full of love for me, and he was scratching me, but I didn't mind. He was like biting my clothes and ripping them, but I just didn't mind. I just loved his energy. We just like melted in this like love for each other for a while. And then we went farther and we reached the seaside, and there was a big tree in the middle of the seaside, on the middle of the coast, and I knew that this is exactly the place I have to be. This is why I felt the need to go for a walk. And I stand under that tree, and incredible amount of sadness comes into me in 1 second. And I'm just staying there and feeling very, very painfully sorry about nature, about the way people are treating nature, about the way, you know, what is happening, and like you can perceive it from only intellectual point of mind that we should preserve nature in so we can like continue our existence, because otherwise it will turn against us, and then everything will go down. You understand it in like intellectual level, but at that point I felt it on the emotional level very hard. I started to cry. I'm like just down the one moment, many interruptions this time, sorry. So I'm staying there feeling absolutely sorry about nature, crying my eyes out, and the only thing, like the only question that I have in my mind, but what can I do, and I say it out loud many times, like what can I do. At this point my trip sitter is just freaking out, like trying to calm me down, but what she doesn't realize that I need to feel all that. Like I'm saying, no, just leave me alone, I just need to feel it. And this is also like we are so used to label reactions like good or bad, and when she saw that I'm crying, she felt need to calm me down, but it was very necessary for me to feel that at that point. So we continue for a walk a little bit more. There is some nice moments, some nice talks. Also at one point I said to her that mushrooms are telling me that I shouldn't be taking them for a while anymore. Like I should do my work like sober in real life. Like this is time for me to invest in myself and try to find the ways in a sober way, and that it's very difficult for the body to have mushrooms, which actually is true. Like this time I didn't throw up before the trip, but I did throw up after it one time. Not that as bad as last time, but still it was like very challenging for the stomach, let's say it like that. And I said to her that before my next trip you will have a trip. Like my trip sitter, it was all again given information from above, so my trip sitter has to have them first, and then I will do it again. And since then I, like after first trip I really was curious and couldn't wait to do it second time, but now I'm like more chilled and I have a patience, and I understand that everything is there for a reason, and I have to live my life first of all, which was also the biggest lesson. So we came back, we sat down. I was still tripping a bit, but like coming down already. We talked about situation with my sister. She gave me some really good advices. We were just like sharing information about that topic. And actually what is interesting with this trip is what happened after it, not what was happening during it. So two the most profound things and two the most profound emotions was this with my face, with my acne problem, what I felt that I wanted it, and the second one was about this feeling sorry about nature. And so in real life, like in 2 weeks time, I start to notice that my attitude to myself is changing when I'm looking in the mirror. Like I'm not hating the way my face looks. I'm not trying to get rid of the pimples, like squeezing them or like putting this negative energy into myself, like what the fuck again, you pimple and blah blah blah. And I remember this feeling. I just looked at myself and I said to myself, I wanted this. I don't know why, but I wanted this, so I accept it, and that's it. And in 2 weeks time, almost all my pimples are gone, and it's really incredible. Although that's not even a point. Even if they come back and I don't know, my face is all covered in pimples, now I understand that they are there for a reason, to teach me to love myself the way I am. And that was, you can say to yourself like 100 million times, like you must love yourself and blah blah blah, you are beautiful the way you are, and it doesn't make any fucking sense if you're looking in the mirror and hating your fucking pimples. No. So only through this experience I was reminded that I truly wanted it the way it is. I knew it. Like now I don't have this feeling, but I have a memory of this feeling, like very profound memory of this feeling. So I'm still struggling between like faith and love to myself and fear, because I'm still on my hormonal pills and I want to finish them, like my cycle is finishing. So I'm finishing this package of the pills and then I'm going off. And I still have this fear that if I will go off them, maybe the pimples will return and stuff like that. And I'm still balancing between this self-love and fear of looking, let's say, ugly. So it's still like a journey, continues. It's not a resolved issue for me, but in a way I can say I let it go, and it was happening all thanks to mushrooms. So I'm still working on it. And by the way, it's not only my imagination, like I'm looking in the mirror and I think that my skin is getting better. So many people, also my trip sitter who I saw 2 weeks after, looked at me and said, "Wait, you have makeup on you? Why your face look like it's like much better?" I said, "No makeup. It's just..." And I tell her what happened, and she was like, "Wow, cool." And also, some other people were saying to me like, "What's up with your face? You're like glowing," and something like that. It was nice to hear, yeah. But also I understand that this is not the point. The point is to accept the life the way it is, and remember that you wanted it exactly this way, and not fight. Go with the flow. Go with what is given. And the point is not to fight everything on your way. The point is accept everything on your way. So, and another thing was about those trees and about killing nature and about how terrifying it felt. Practically like a week later or less, it was an accident here in neighborhood that guys came here to take down about 10 mature trees, and they took down one of them, and then it was in the end of the day, so they wanted to stop work and continue next day. And when they were taking down this tree opposite my house, like really huge tree, like maybe 20-30 years old tree, and they didn't know what is the reason why the owner wants them down. And I was just looking at that and I was feeling exactly the same what I felt during that trip. I felt sadness and hopelessness. I didn't know how I can, like, what can I do? And this was a question again, what can I do? And I finished the job and I called some people, friends of mine. They suggested me to call to forestry department, and I did. So long story short, I called to municipality, forestry department, police, and blah 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 blah. In the end, owner calls me. He says, "What the fuck? Why are you calling all those people? I'm just taking those trees down because I need to get title deeds, and this is what municipality said to me to do." And blah blah blah. And I said to him, "Okay, but call to the forestry department. Maybe they can help you. You don't have to take those trees down." And he did. He called to forestry department and they said, "No problem, we'll give you a paper, you don't have to cut them down, everything can stay as it is." And like until this day, 2 weeks later, trees are still there. So in a way I saved them. And it was like so directly connected to what I felt during the trip, and it was unbelievable experience. I never saved any trees in my life, and it was like, wow. It was like flowing in the river of God's plan, literally. Like, it was weird experience, especially because like it happened connected to what I felt during the trip. So yeah, I have nothing more to tell so far. I think this is all the story. I hope you enjoyed it, and I didn't make it much shorter than last time, I'm sorry.